Thank you for returning to the show, Janis, on the Be the Solution podcast. Everybody, thanks for tuning in and listening today. Today is going to be a real treat because Janis, a dear friend of mine here in the Philadelphia market, and been in real estate for over 2 decades. And she is a great, great woman with lots of great ideas. So she's got something she wants to unleash to the world, and we're going to unpack it today. Welcome, Janis.
Hello, good morning. When you say unleash, I'm like, that's what it feels like. It's like all this energy, and I just want to let it out.
Yes. So we're talking behind the scenes, and you mentioned agent for agent.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What?
Okay. First I have to tell you the backstory, because there's always a backstory.
Let's do it.
All right. A couple of years ago, I was sitting on my computer and a Facebook message popped up, and it was one of my kids' old, sorry, all of a sudden, thank God for editing. It was one of my kids' old preschool teachers. My kids are in their 20s now. And she was asking me real estate advice for her boss. And it was up in North Jersey. And you get that feeling like you want to help people, but you're in the middle of doing stuff, and then people are asking you for advice for free. And you're like, oh, and you're back and forth between, I want to help and I should be paid. So I ended up deciding I'm just going to talk to her. I'm going to give her advice because I'm a good human. And the next thing you know, I realized there's a referral opportunity for a multi-million-dollar listing. And I'm licensed in New Jersey, but this is all the way up North Jersey, and it just makes no sense. I can't serve the client by, I don't know that and I can't. So I decide to refer it out. And I posted somewhere in a Facebook group, probably Lab Coat Agents, I don't remember. And it was amazing because I got like 70 people flooding this, like, I'll take it. And it's so overwhelming. On the one hand, it's good because you have all these agents. But on the other hand, it's like, how the hell do you manage and sift through and figure out? Because this is a big deal. And we not only want to serve the client, but we want to close. So I went through and I couldn't get through them all. I went through a few of them and I picked one and I just sort of hoped for the best. She seemed great and I hoped for the best. And she was great. And she stuck with it. And, spoiler alert, it closed almost 2 years later. She renewed the contract. They had to do price reductions, but I still got a nice big fat check in the mail. And during the process, she was pretty responsive, but there were times when I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And it's a different MLS, so I couldn't stalk the MLS and see what was going on. Like, what's going on? What's going on? And I felt like a big pest texting her, but it's like, what's going on? So I had the seed planted in my head at that time that referrals should be easier. They just should be easier because there is so much business that agents do with each other already. And we should be doing business with each other instead of big tech platforms. That's my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. And so I thought there's got to be a better way. And the seed was planted in my head. And then one day I came up with the idea, but it took me 2 years to bring it to life. And now it's here, and it's called Agent for Agent. And I'm so freaking excited about it because also the story of how we built it, but that's another story. So when I say we built, I came up with the real estate idea, and I have a tech partner who does all the tech. So I'm not taking credit for any of the tech. She does all the tech. I do zero of the tech. So make sure that when we say we're giving some credit to Simone. That's her name. So we came up with a platform where it's going to be like a dating site for agents, where you have a profile and people can scroll through your profile and see who you are and what you're about. But it's not for dating. Well, you do you. It's not for dating. It's for agent-to-agent referrals. And so when you join the platform, which is free to join, there is a fee, but we'll talk about that in a minute. You join the platform. It's totally free to join. You fill out your profile, and then you show up as an available agent to accept referrals. And so if you have a referral that you have to send me, I'm in Florida now, right? So imagine I lived in Florida and you wanted to send me a referral. You wanted to send a referral to Florida. You go on the app and you scroll through and you're like, oh, who's this Janis chick? And you start reading and you're like, oh, I like her. You can message me, you can talk to me. And then when you decide you want to refer to me, we do everything through the system. And the coolest part is that not only is it easy to find the agent, but the client becomes a contact, like a CRM that we share, And I will see every step of the way when you do things, when you go under contract with them, when you write an offer with them, when you get accepted, when you go to closing, and I will be able to see all of that so that I don't have to stalk you and find out what's going on. And the system scores you based on your behaviors and your closing rate, so that when future agents, I'm sorry, scores me, I'm the one that you refer to, scores me. And so when future agents are looking to refer to Florida, they're not just going to see my profile, but they're going to see my score that I earned by actually closing deals and reaching out to the clients. And then when it closes, you pay the platform a fee, flat fee, and that's it. And it's totally free to join, and it is going to be revolutionary. And I'm so excited about it.
So it's a CRM?
So we have a CRM attached to it that you can purchase. It's based on Go High Level. That's our platform. And then we've white labeled it so that it's specific to real estate. And we're offering that at a very, very, very low special founders rate that we're not even allowed to promote publicly because it's below what we're allowed to advertise since it's Go High Level, but it's a very low price. You can have the CRM, but you don't need it. And the CRM is pretty fantastic too, but I'm not even out promoting that yet because I'm just so excited about the platform for agent.
So everything that's happening in the transaction is in there.
Everything. Yeah. Now it's not transaction management. You're going to use your office transaction management for that. But this is where it's like when you're in your CRM and you're reaching out to your client, it shows you talked to them, you emailed them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
that kind of thing.
Follow-up boss, we see that. So what if somebody already has follow-up boss? How does it work?
If they have follow-up boss, then they can just use this separately. And eventually we're going to have API where we'll be able to hopefully integrate into other systems, but we're not there yet.
Excellent.
So at this point, so this is why we did the CRM also, is because some people, and we are not follow-up boss. And I have my own things to say. We know. Are you still with them? Didn't you switch?
I will be soon.
Right. We had this conversation a long time ago. So
well, and I was resistant because I have 67,000 people in there.
Right. And it's a pain in the ass to move CRMs. It totally is. I get that. So we created a CRM, but we're not pushing people. You don't have to move. The reason why people would join our CRM is, first of all, it's a really great CRM if you've ever used Go High Level.
I have. And
yeah.
They have wonderful things in there if you can figure out how to do it.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things too, is as we all know, and anyone who's watching who doesn't know, I'm also an instructor. So one of the things that I'm pretty good at is explaining things. And so we are going to, with the CRM, hold sessions that I will explain the why to use certain features, and Simone will explain the how. Because as far as my experience goes with CRMs over the years, there are so many features and it's overwhelming. And when I switched from Follow Up Boss, I went to Lofty, and I actually liked Follow Up Boss better than Lofty. Sorry to say, because I know you're switching to Lofty. But one of the things that I didn't like about Lofty was there were things all over the place. There was too much. They have training videos on how to use it, but they didn't bridge the gap about why. And so many of those features I didn't use, and my agents who are newer used even less of those features because they didn't know where to start. So we're going to be doing live training sessions. You also get the recording, but live, so that people can ask questions where we'll talk about a certain thing. Like, for example, Simone was showing me the other day about how on social media with our system, with our CRM, you can not only schedule your social media posts, but you can also do that automation where if somebody comments on your Instagram, in your comments, you can DM them your lead magnet. And I was like, I didn't know we could do that. That's so cool. So now we're going to do a session where I'm going to explain to agents why you would do that, how that could build your business. And then Simone will show how to actually use the system. And we're hoping that it's going to bridge that implementation gap so that people can start picking, choosing, and using all the bells and whistles that fit their business so they can actually move the needle. Because the thing is, what's the saying in the industry is the best CRM is the one you use.
Correct.
Right. And you use yours, but I'm sure there's tons of features in there that you don't even know about because you're so busy doing what you're doing, but it could end up automating or growing your business if you knew about them, right?
I'm sure, Janis. Yeah. I'm sure. because tech is not my number one skill.
Right. And the thing is also, the whole point about tech is it's supposed to be there to support you, not to be some other full-time job that you need to master. And that's why the thing with Simone and me is Simone and me, not Simone and I. The thing with Simone and me is that we're like a perfect synergy, because she does all the tech side and she doesn't know much about the real estate business. I don't know much about tech. So between the two of us, it's like magic.
So you have a whole human now.
We have a whole human now. I love the way you put that. We have a whole human. And the way I met her is so beyond phenomenal. She actually, I lose track of time. Months ago, a year ago, she's a go high level expert and other tech, but she's a go high level expert. And she was researching to see if she wanted to create a white labeled version of Go High Level for real estate agents. And so she randomly found me on Facebook, amongst others, and she asked me if I would meet with her and talk to her. And again, I was like, people want to talk to me for free, and I did it anyway because I felt a pull. And so we got on this meeting, and she's pulling up her screen, and she's not really telling me what she's asking. She's just asking me questions. And I see her screen, and I recognize High Level because I use it for my school. I use it for J. Brea. And so after she's talking, I'm like, is that Go High Level? And she said, yes. And I said, are you trying to white label it for real estate agents? And she said, yes. And I said, then just ask me. I'll tell you like everything that you need to know. And so I started telling her all this stuff, and she was like mind blown. And so then I said to her, I would love to switch, but I just don't have it in me right now to switch my brokerage to Go High Level. So maybe someday in the future. And I didn't think about it. And then one day I was walking on the beach not too long ago, and all of a sudden I just had this epiphany. And I said, Simone can build out Agent for Agent. It didn't have a name then. The working title was Refer Me. That's what I called it for the last couple of years. And I had tried. I had actually hired a web developer and another person, and we would meet, and we had like NDA signed and all this stuff. But I would sit across the table from them, and I would tell them, and they're just like, "Oh, so you want to get more students for your school?" I'm like, "No." You want to sell a house? No. Like they weren't getting the concept, so I couldn't work with them. I talked to someone else who actually is in the tech business, and he wasn't getting it. So I thought this was never going to happen. And then I had this epiphany. I'm like, call Simone. So I got home and I messaged her and I said, let's jump on a call. And within 10 minutes, I asked her if she wanted to be partners. Like not even, I want to hire you to do this, like partners. And we are partners, and we built this business together. And it's the best. And she's out of state, and her birthday was 2 weeks ago, and I drove down and I met her and all her people and in person. And like, it's just the coolest thing when you use the internet in ways to actually connect with other humans. I love that.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Where's she out of?
She's DC.
Oh, in DC.
Yeah.
Oh, so she's local. Like local-ish.
Local enough that I could drive
down. Not over the pond.
Not over the pond. Same time zone.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So agent for agent. So agents are going to be used as for the referrals.
Mm-hmm.
And now they can have a CRM. That's all part of the program. And when will you launch it?
So we're on a wait list right now, and January 29th, which is next week, we're doing a webinar for everyone who's on the wait list, and you can sign up for the webinar so that you can learn about the system. And then if you can't make it, you can get the recording. And then we're going to be launching probably a couple of weeks after that. We have some finishing touches to put on, and we want to get more people from across the country, because and it will grow. We don't have to wait to launch until we get more people, but we want to get more people across the country, because if you don't have anyone to refer to, it doesn't make any sense. But one thing that I want to talk about that just came up in my mind when you were asking me this is something that's really important about this for me. And for those of you who don't know me, you're going to get to know me right now. I am a 100% firm believer that real estate is a relationship-based business, and that we as agents have value. And that value is no longer in data because the internet exists, but our relationship and our value, I mean, our value is something different. Each one of us has some sort of different value proposition, but it's the relationships that are at the core of it all. And because of that, I have decided that we are not doing any kind of advertising to promote this. So instead, what we're doing is we're doing affiliates, because I want agents who use the system to not only share the word and spread the word, but I want them to profit from it rather than Meta. So what we're doing is anyone who joins the CRM, we're going to have 2 tiers, like a base one. And when I tell you it's cheap, like we made it so inexpensive on purpose because there's no reason that these people have to bleed us dry as agent. I'm an agent first, even though I own this platform. That's why it's called Agent for Agent. Like at heart, I'm an agent. I built this for agents. And so rather than bleeding everyone dry, we want the tool to be there for something to actually help you build your business without this huge expense hanging over your head every month. And we want you to be able to make money from it by spreading the word. You use it, you love it, you spread the word. So if you're on the Plus plan, you're automatically become an affiliate, which means if you share and anyone joins, you get 25% of their monthly fees so long as you're a member of the platform. That's it. And so we're spending our money there rather than putting ads that are going to make Meta rich. So it's everything about it is by agents and for agents.
I love that. That's a great business plan, because affiliate, I mean, there's lots of people built mega $1 million companies by affiliate marketing.
Yeah, but we're not just doing, and I agree, but this is more than a business strategy. This is a value, because only people who are using the system are going to be able to become affiliates. Like we were looking up stuff, and you can hire affiliates. You can put it on a website and you can put it on there, and people that are professional affiliate marketers can just jump on and become an affiliate and blow up your business. But we don't want to do that. And
Understood.
but this is why I'm saying also when it launches, the map might be small. Because it's organic, but then it's going to spread, because when people start to use this, because every single person that I've told about it so far is like, oh my God, that's like $1 billion idea. Why didn't anyone think of this first? And I'm like, I don't know. But that's another thing, is how many times do we think of something and we're afraid to do it because we're like, oh, somebody else, if nobody else did it before, then maybe it's not worth it. But if we take that leap, if we be the solution, I thought about that when I was coming on today, because I'm like, that is a perfect tagline for agent. I'm not going to use it, but I'm just saying to describe, because I saw a problem and it was bothering me. And then I came up with something that is the solution.
Right.
Literally solves the problem.
That's what the whole premise of Be the Solution is like, it's about radical accountability for your life and you being the architect of it.
Yeah.
Right? Solving the problems, because we all have the answers for the problem. Well, not every problem, but you know what I'm saying? Like if you want to find a way, you'll find a way to make something happen. You'll find the solution. So it's either like we make excuses or we find solutions. So, and I agree what you said, because there's so many things out there, and it's like, you know, that's why this year my word of the year is fearless. Feel the fear, do it anyway. Because I have ideas, I have things that I wanted to launch, and then you're like, oh well, yeah, you know, you start to think small, and that's why our excuse me. Our brain, what's between our ears, is the most expensive real estate in the world.
I like
And
that.
so we are either our own worst enemy or our biggest supporter. And we have to be our biggest supporter more than our own worst enemy. And that's just humans in general, you know, nothing about real estate, but
Totally.
and it's all about, you know, what are your dreams? And you had a dream, came up with this idea because it was a solution to a problem in the industry. You give a referral, and you, first of all, what about when you never hear back from the people?
Right. And what about you give out all these referrals and then you have to find some way to some system to track them, and then it's just another thing to do on your to-do list. And
Right.
you
You know
don't,
how
and
many referrals I gave out that I never even saw a check for?
right. And you're like, and then someday you're like, oh, I wonder what happened to them. And I know some people, they keep spreadsheets. And then, I've talked, because I did a bit of research. I was doing this anyway. And I realized there are alternatives out there. There's certain companies that are national and they have their own internal referral networks. And so those agents are probably going to be limited on my platform. They're probably not, because they have their own, but they could come on the platform and get referrals from outside companies. So I realize it's not going to be every single agent in the entire country. But even the people that I talk to that are doing these manual ways to track the referrals, there's no like one central database. And this is why we are offering the CRM along with it. We weren't planning on doing that, but we offered the CRM along with it just because I said during it, I'm like, the only resistance that I have, and I'm the founder, is I don't want another thing to log into. So for me, if it's all integrated, because we're integrating it with our own CRM, that solves that problem. But I want to go back to what you were saying about being fearless and you have these big ideas. And then this to me, it was similar because I had this big idea, but part of what held me back in the beginning was I thought it had to be huge. Like I thought, and I don't want to say thought, but it's a limiting belief. Like, I need venture capital or I need all this high tech or all these things to start it off. And I'm not a tech person. I'm in real estate. And then when something hit and I met Simone and it was like the universe just came down. I was like, oh no, the answer is right here. And, I realize, and I know this intellectually, but sometimes we don't feel it. I don't have to do it the way everyone else does it, right? We don't have to necessarily start with venture capital or all this money. You can, if you have an idea and it's a real idea and you're led by this thing, and my saying is be led by something greater than money and the money will follow. Like if you're led by this idea and you're like, I just really want to do this. Like you said, you will find a way. You don't have to do it the way everyone else did it. And that's what also feels so beautiful about Agent for me was broke the mold and doing this thing our own way, and we're getting it done.
I love it. Getting it done. Done is better than perfect.
Yeah. And that's the thing, we're human about it. And we talk, I talk about that, and this is who I am. And I say to people when I'm talking about the CRM, I'm like, we're building it out. It can do a whole bunch of stuff. And part of it is it's not perfect at all, but we're human. And you can tell us we need this. And if we can do it, we'll build it. Like we're going to create it as we go along so that it works, rather than creating all these useless bells and whistles that are just sitting there that you're paying for that nobody wants to use. We're just going to build it as we go along. And it's really, you have to have a lot of trust in me and in Simone and in the fact that we're going to listen and we're going to work with you, because some of these companies that are so huge, you can't get a person on the phone. You can't get them on the phone if you have a question and you're like, what's going on? They don't talk to you like you're human. We do.
So walk me through the system. I need to find an agent in Tallahassee.
Mm-hmm.
And I just put in Tallahassee, Florida.
Yeah, there's going to be search fields, and not everything on someone's profile is going to be searchable, but the market that they work in, and we're doing it by counties because we had to figure out the easiest way to do it. So it'll be by county. And you'll search and you'll see all the agents that come up that service that county and their profiles, and you can scroll through them, and then you'll be able to just message them or just if straight up pick one and then send them an offer, do the referral form electronically, and then share the client information online, and they start the transaction. Mm-hmm. And then you can go in and check. So you can set up the system to like email you or notify you when they change stages, or you can just go in and you can check it on your own. We don't want to blow up your inbox. And then you'll be able to see what's going along inside the transaction.
And actually know what's going on. So you can actually call the person you referred and be like, hey, I saw that you found a house.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Totally.
That's awesome. You found a house. Congratulations.
Totally. Because the thing is, when you do listings, it's a lot easier when you refer listings. We know you can check MLS. If it's not your MLS, you can check one of the sites and you can see that the property's listed. You can see the property went under contract, but with a buyer, there's no way to check.
There's no way to check.
There's no way to check. And it's funny because I nerded out. Like part of what helped me come up with this idea was we talk in real estate about constructive notice and actual notice, right? Remember constructive notice, this is me being the real estate instructor. Constructive notice is putting something where a reasonable search would uncover it, like recording a deed. Actual notice is actually notifying someone, an email, a text, a phone call. And that's what I was realizing. And it kept coming up as when I was teaching this in class, and I kept coming up in my head, like referrals are only constructive notice. There's no actual notice to let you know that something's going on unless you get a check in the mail. And I was like, there should be something with actual notice. And that's what helped me create, which is also so interesting to me is that education, whether it's real estate or any kind of education, there's so much more juice to the knowledge than just the thing that you think you're learning. You think you're learning constructive notice and actual notice, and you're like, what's the point of learning it? I'm not going to get anything about it. But when you learn a new concept, when you learn new language about anything, it expands your brain. And then you can start seeing this thing in other parts of your life. And so I'm teaching pre-licensure. And the next thing you know, these words help me form the idea of my lifetime.
It's funny. I always say that it's like we don't know why we did something or learned something or until it could be a decade later. And this is what this thing over here brought me to here. And you can never connect the dots forward, only backwards.
Yeah, well, it's funny that you say that because, and I'll share this link with you offline, there's a mentor that I hired her. I follow her programs. Her name's Melanie Ann Layer. I may have talked about her in the past. She's been my mentor for years. And she had us do this exercise in one of the group programs called Because of That. And so we basically had to all write our because of that story. My parents split up when I was little. Because of that, I moved here. Because of that, I moved here. So we basically did exactly what you're talking about, but traced it. And it is such a fascinating, not just to trace your own story, but we got to read everybody else's story. And it's like, where the magic comes is that when you're in a moment now of strife, suffering, sorrow, and instead of focusing on the negative, you could say, this is a because of that in the story of my future. That's the magic. And when that happens, that's like jumping timelines. That changes everything.
It is. It's so, I would say, and some of the things that, I went through.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say all the time, I had to keep reminding myself, this is happening for me, not to me.
Yep.
This is happening for me. There's a reason why this is happening. I just don't know yet why. I don't know yet why XYZ, right? It's so powerful.
Yep.
This whole concept and how things unfold it's so powerful. And, I talk about lately a lot, I talk about, people in our industry, Janis, and I know you would agree with this. It's like the hustle culture. Don't take a day off. Work nonstop. Blah, blah, blah. I don't buy into that. I look at it like, and I travel extensively with my husband. Rest is not a reward. It's a strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Because the magic happens and you come up with things, ideas, when nothing is happening. When you're not in production.
Yeah.
When you're not hustling a deal. When you're not out showing houses. I mean, there's people, friends of ours and acquaintances on social. Like, that's all I talk about. I'm showing another house. They take another picture. I'm doing it. And I'm like, I hope they don't break down and end up in the hospital. Like, I'm serious. Like,
Right. Well, also, uh, it's even if you didn't break down and you made it to 99, and then you looked back at your life and your life was all work and showing houses, but there was no joy or magic in there. What's the freaking point?
what's the point? You know, we talk about planning our year out, right? You look at the year, you look at the month, you look at the weeks, you look at the day. Anyway, this is how I do. I look at the first thing I say is, when am I traveling? And I
That's your
block
anchor.
it out.
Yeah, that's your anchor.
How many weeks am I traveling? How many weeks am I going to work events, right? How many weeks am I going to be sick? And I'm not saying be sick. I put it all in the schedule, not the days, but then, and then we get basically 2 weeks of federal vacations, days off. So then I come back with, and I'm left with like, I don't know, 42 weeks or something, if you add that all together. So then I look at it and I say, okay, here's the weeks I'm working. Here are the weeks I'm going to be in some type of production, whether it's working on building, you know, our new venture with LPT Realty, or it's working on my listing course, which is a 6-week course, or I'm working on my book, like whatever that is, right? And then blocking out, here's the time I'm going to do my private coaching, here's the time I have for client meetings, here's the time I have to meet with agents, and the time for myself. You got, if you don't have white space, you can't create. I bet you these things that people come up with, they come up with because the dots finally connected. Something triggered it. Because of this happened, right? I love that exercise, by the way.
It's such the greatest exercise. It was so great. I absolutely love that exercise. And the thing is, doing it on your own is wonderful, but when you do it and you read other people's stories, so if you're in a group or you know, do it with your coaching clients or something and you read each other's stories, it really gives you a different perspective and it helps
What
you.
is the woman's name that your
Her
mentor?
name is Melanie Ann Layer. I can give you a link to join. She actually has a free masterclass going on right now. I'll give you the link to join it, and then you can catch up on the modules. There are modules, past modules, but they're all recorded in the group. And you can watch those, and that's where this exercise was. And then you'll see other people's, you'll see mine because of that in there. And
That's
other
amazing.
people's. It's a really great way to look at the world. I love it. But like all this stuff, it's really interesting to me because all this stuff that you're talking about, like a lot of times you talk about what I have this way that I look at the world and I say process over content. The content is the story, like what I should be doing, the nuts and bolts, the things that I should be doing, regardless of whether it's real estate or running my household or what my relationship, whatever. The process is how I think and feel and come up with the ways that I'm going to do things. And I'm much more of a process person. Like I like to focus on the process. And what you're talking about right now is process, because my schedule looks very different than yours. It's the same idea, but you seem to block out your time and like, this is work time, this is relaxed time, this is travel time. Mine is everything is just sort of integrated, right? Like my whole day, it looks very different than yours. I like to integrate it so that I'm doing something that's social, but it also turns out to be work. And I don't necessarily block out separate time, but our process is the same, which is we need to create white space. We need to create organic. We need to create this feeling of the space. And that's where all the magic does happen. That's where the magic for putting the pieces together for agent happened, was when I was walking on the beach in the middle of the day, because I just needed to get away from my computer. And I was walking on the beach and I call them my God zone walks, because when I walk on the beach at off season, because I'm living down the shore, not permanently, but for the next few months. And so I take these walks on the beach and it's cold and I put my sunglasses on, because, you know, you hide behind your sunglasses and no one can see you and you can get in your own space. And I just do these walks and I get into this like Zen mode. And I'm telling you, ideas that come from the universe, from God, Mother Nature, source, whatever you want to call it, is when the magic happens. But when you're sitting there, and this is the thing, when you're sitting there and you're trying and you're spinning and you're like, that's okay. It's your house. We can edit, right?
We can edit.
We can
Apple,
edit.
please, Apple, edit that out.
Edit the ice machine. It's okay. So when you are, hold on, I have to get back on my train of thought.
The white space, the magic.
The white space is when the magic happens. And so when, oh, sorry, I lost it. Give me a second. I'll get it back. I do this when I record my own videos all the time because I'm recording like a whole online course. I'm re-recording my online course, and I also have to do another recording today. I'm in the Women in Real Estate Summit again this year. And that's what I do. I just go on to script and I record the whole thing, and then I stop. I'm like, cut this out. So when you have that white space and you're able to just, oh, that's what I was saying. So when you're trying really hard to make something happen and you're spinning and you're like, I got to create something. I have to create business. I need money. That's when you spin out of control and nothing happens because you cut off the flow of ideas, of source, of whatever you want to call it. But the moment that you let go and that you trust and you just give space, that is when it happens. That's when the magic happens. Every single time in my life, that is when the magic happened.
I agree. You know, I was wondering if it came to you when you were on the beach, because that's a good place for ideas to flow. You know, I get some of the best ideas in the shower.
Yeah, that's another place.
Like, I don't know what it is about the shower, but and I'm not in there that long. I don't take long showers, but they just,
yeah,
they come like that.
Yeah, and some people
I've got some of the best ideas in the shower.
Yeah. You want to share?
Naked and free and
right, and the hot water's running down you.
Sunning yourself up.
It's the best. So you want to share? Because I know you have a lot of stuff cooking in that brain of yours. You going to share anything?
Oh, some of the ideas?
Yeah.
Well, my listing boss course came to me while I was in the shower one day. Said, how do I get more people, be better listing agents? And I was like, I'm going to do this course. I wanted to do this course. You know how long? Since COVID. But it wasn't this course. It was something else. I just didn't know what it was. And then I'm like, I took 192 listings last year. I think I'm an expert on taking listings.
I think so
and
too.
Selling listings. I think I could do something really valuable for people. Right? So I came up with, oh God, the idea for, be the solution. The way it happened was we were in COVID, and remember, nobody was saying anything online. Like, it was crickets. Everybody was waiting and saying, oh, we're going to be home for 2 weeks. I was like, yeah, right, 2 weeks. And the woman who worked with me at the time, and she's a friend, she said, you need to go live. I'm like, live? Facebook? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, sure. So I'm like, what's everyone else, the leaders, doing in Philly real estate? Well, I know I had you on, but other people weren't doing nothing. They were sitting home telling their people, relax for a couple weeks. I'm like, so she's like, we're going to do a podcast. I'm like, a podcast? All right. I'm like, we need a name. And to be the solution, which is my mantra now, right? I'm not a victim, but it came because, we talked about this offline. A lot of, I get referrals from people, but due to the volume of business that I do is I'm like marketing and all other stuff. I called expire listings. That's how I started my career once I figured out there was these things called expired listings, I didn't even know for like 2 years about this. Okay. I found out about it and I was like, oh, I'll call them. I don't care. But she's like, well, what do you do for people? And I'm like, we solve problems. We're the solution to their problem of not getting sold. And I'm like, oh my God, that's it.
That's it.
Be the solution. And so the be the solution is it's more than a podcast. It's more than the book that's coming. If I can ever get it done, it's done. If I can ever launch it out there, which I'm going to say that it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I hope it happens sooner than later. That's one of those things that's not done, that's not happened, right? It's got to happen. Maybe somebody will hear this and they'll say, Maria, I can help you get your book launched.
Well, have you looked into BookBaby?
Who?
BookBaby. They help you publish or self-publish. A friend of mine is an editor because I have a book in the works too, but mine is very slow coming and it's not about real estate. And I talked to him about it and he suggested BookBaby to me. So I'll share that with you as well.
BookBaby. Janis, you might have been this BookBaby might be the solution.
Yeah, it might be.
I talked to another book people the other day and then they said, well, they sent me the proposal. They said, we can get you in USA Today, blah, blah, blah thing. And then I look at it and it costs $60,000 for that. I'm like, well, this is over. This is not, I'm not this level.
Right. And also it's like, what's
60,000? Like, I just don't have it laying around to be spending on this.
Right. And plus also what's the point? You know,
I'm not spending, I'm not trying to sell 1 million copies of my book. I just want it out there. I don't want to share it with people. Like,
And your book
I'm not
is
trying
also,
to get rich off of the book.
Right. Well, also the reality these days is that your book is your business card. So your book is often the top of the funnel.
Correct.
So getting it out there is important, but you know, there's options. You can self-publish. There's also
Amazon ADP or AP.
Yeah, but I would look into the different, I started looking into it and there's pros and cons to all of them and I'm not fluent in them, but I know that there's pros and cons. I don't remember what they are, but if you, for example, like your ISBN number and check into it, because if you do it, I think if you do it through Amazon and double check this, but it's something like if you do it through Amazon, those books that ISBN number can't be used to be sold in bookstores like Barnes and Noble. So there's certain restrictions. So those are the types of things they have to look into. And again, I don't remember, but I'm going to send you the information for BookBaby. And also Hay House has, and I know you've written the book already, but they have their free writers workshop from time to time, a couple times a year. And it's an online workshop and that's going to give you a lot of information about self-publishing, publishing with them and genres and titles and hooks and all that thing, how to market it. So I'll send those resources to you.
This might be the solution to that problem.
Yeah, it could be. And that's the other thing too, is we don't give enough credit or weight to the importance of people talking to people anymore, especially with the doom scrolling on social media, right? We see all this scrolling and people with really short attention spans, but in reality, how do businesses get referred? Yeah, there's a lot that comes from social media, but word of mouth, when people talk to people, like when I tell you about Melanie Ann Layer, she could have come across, she doesn't do Facebook ads, but even if she did, she could have come across your feed 20 times and you wouldn't have. But the minute someone that you know, like, and trust tells you from experience with connotation, you're like, I'm interested, I want to look. And then you see if it aligns with you. Same thing with BookBaby, same thing with this. And it's like, so many of us get caught, and this is actually the talk I'm doing about social media for the Women's Summit, is so many of us get caught in this hamster wheel of production, of creating content, of doing all the things that we think we're supposed to do, and we lose sight of what really matters. And so we get really busy, but busy is bullshit, and we're spinning around trying to do all the things, when sometimes if we just slow down and go deep, not wide, and have a conversation with someone, like I'm having a conversation with you, and there's no agenda here. Like, yeah, I'm excited to tell people about Agent for Agent, but they're going to find out about it anyway. I'm not here with a purpose of like, I want to get something out of it. I'm here with just being able to connect with another human, you and whoever finds this podcast and resonates with it. And when you're led by that, it just feels better in the moment, because I'm not like commission breath, like, oh my God, I got to sell this, or oh my God, I got to accomplish this. I'm just having a conversation. Look what comes out. You inspired me to sit down and work on my book, because my book is not about real estate. I could write a book about real estate, from my perspective and the way I do things, but this is something completely different. And I have been working on it bits and pieces for years. And like, I'm waiting for that to come out and be like, here it is. Instead of me sitting down and forcing myself, I want it to come from within and be like, it's here. And I have like 5 versions of the book written, like 70,000 words, 100,000 words, like it's all written, but none of it feels like. And you find out about Melanie Ann Layer and my because of that. That's right. How many of us are trapped in freaking Groundhog Day, in this wheel of production of constantly spinning in this capitalist society to try and achieve, but we forget to take off our shoes and walk in the grass.
Yeah. That. And that's why I do so much better too, in the warm months, because, this is not what you meant by that, but there is something about grounding. It's huge. Like, I'll just talk for myself. Don't do it enough. And I'm not talking about grounding. I'm talking about just
being present.
Yeah. So that's what I'm not focusing on now. Like this month, intentionally, I said, I'm going to have podcasts. We're doing this at 7:30 a.m. And it's a great time because we're basically having coffee at a coffee shop, but you're in Florida and I'm here in Philadelphia. And we can do this because of online. Mm-hmm. But it's a great way to start the day with somebody because you get inspiration. It's nice to learn. It's nice to just connect with another human. And we're not sitting here, trying to deconstruct the deal or deconstruct the home inspection or whatever.
Right.
BS.
That'll come after we get off the call when real life is.
But
Maria, that's why you love being in the shower and the ideas come, because that's when you're present. That's why the ideas come. When you're in the shower, you're present.
Right.
And what can we do? Last week, I jumped on, I have a check-in with my agents in the morning. And before the call, I have at home, I have this big crystal, it's quartz. It's huge. Yeah. It's beautiful. And in my short house, I get lots of light. In the city, I don't. And in the morning before the call, I just picked, my crystal's always around me. And I just picked up my crystal and I just held it in the sun. And I just sat there for maybe a minute or so, not that long. And I just got lost in the light in the crystal. And it just made me start to cry because it brought me back to that feeling of being a child. Remember when there was no time and the world was huge and you could just lay down in the grass and look up at the sky, or you would just be present and you just felt it all and you were there. And how many times as adults do we take a moment to actually feel that way? People talk about being present, but when you feel it and you're like, oh my gosh, this is what they mean. It's like, it can bring tears to your eyes. And it's like, those are the moments that we're missing when we're running on this spinning wheel all the time. And sometimes when I just stop and I think, do I have to do this? Offline, we started off the conversation this morning with we didn't say it, but we're basically maybe it's time to throw in the towel and do something else, right? We didn't actually say that, but just that idea. And I often say, if I won the Powerball and had all the money in the world and never had to worry about anything again financially, that would feel completely free. For me, that would just be total freedom. My lifestyle would change just to the point where I'd be free. I wouldn't be driving a Lambo or anything like that. So if I also sold everything and I moved into a hut and lived on the beach and spearfished for my dinner, I would also feel totally free. So those are opposite sides of the same coin. And so the feeling of being free is the feeling that I go after all the time. And what I want is to not have to win the Powerball in order to feel free, nor do I want to have to sell everything and live on a hut in the beach in order to feel free. I want to be able to find a way to feel present and free in the moment, and that's by being led by something greater than money, instead of being on that spinning wheel. And that's when the magic happens. That's when the idea for your course happens. The idea for your course didn't happen because you're like, oh shit, I need another revenue stream. Oh my God, I need to be famous and have all these agents know about me. That idea came because you're in the shower and you realize that you have this gift that you want to share with people. And now I promise you it will monetize, because I promise you there are going to be hundreds, if not thousands, depending on how big you spread the word, of agents that are going to be foaming at the freaking mouth to get that course and list 192 listings in the year. Like, that's when I see what you list when you did your challenge, how many calls you were doing, like 100 a day or something? What was it for a month?
Oh my God.
I was like, what is this mad woman up to? Like, this, what is she doing? Like, you're not human. How do you do that?
Oh, look how red I am. You know what? I wanted to see what was possible.
I love that.
And now I know what's possible. Now, that is not to say that I want to repeat that month again, because I had so much work to do. I had so much work to do from all of those calls that I couldn't actually keep up. And I have like 4 assistants, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do it. Like, I could have that many assignments from people, meaning opportunities to list a property, right? And they all weren't right now. They came at all different times, and you know, but you figure out what works, what's sustainable. You know, you that would not be something that I would be able to do every day, day in, day out. I mean, I guess actually that's not true. I could do that. I don't want to do that. How about that?
Oh, I love that. I love that.
I don't want to do that. So I know what I want to do, and it ain't that. So I could do it. I could do more listings. Like, I could have had more than I did, the 192, but some of them I fucked up. Excuse me, Apple, get rid of that F.
Or just bleep it.
Bleep it. Beep. Do a bleep, Apple. So, or, you know, I didn't want it, or they were difficult, or I forgot to call them back. Like, I'm a human too. I'm not perfect. I forgot to call somebody back for a $1.6 million listing. How about that?
That's gotta hurt. That's gotta sting.
It did.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It did, but
you got 10 $160,000 listings, and you could have instead at the 1.6.
Yeah, I know. So that's what I'm saying. That's the thing. Like, I'm not perfect.
Of course.
I make mistakes. Okay.
But you're still amazing that you were able to, I mean, that is bonkers. And you probably learned so much from it. And one of the things also you learned is, I don't want to do that, which is so valuable, because that's the trap. It's like, here's the trap. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. And not that you're doing anything wrong. That's not me. Like, I don't want to be on the phone calling people all day that I don't know. It's just me. But there's a part of me, when I saw you do that, I was like, oh my gosh, I could get on the phone. I could do this. I'm an agent. I could learn how to do this, and I could get on the phone and I could do this. And you get this FOMO, or this feeling like somebody else is doing it, that means that I should do it. And every single time we get that, it eats away at a little bit of ourselves. Like, if Maria's doing it and I'm not doing it, like, what's wrong with me? Maybe I should be doing that. And what's so important and valuable, and I'm so glad you said this, because it frees a lot of people up, as you said, I can do it, but I don't want to do it. And if we all could say that about every single time we see an influencer on social media, if we could leave ourselves alone and instead of saying, why am I not good enough or why am I not doing that? If we were able to just have some grace and say, I could do that, but I don't want to. Think of how much freer we would all be.
Well, and I love that it comes down to what is it that you want your life to look like? What is it that you want your life to look like? Right? What is it? What does it look like? You are the director of your life. You get this to decide who's in your movie.
Mhm.
You get to decide these actions I take are going to be for or against me. They're going to help me or they're going to hurt me. Because decisions we've made in our past, in fact, they affect who we are today. And so does it align with who you are and who you want to be? So it's not like, I say this all the time to my team and people. I said, listen, who do you have to become? Who do you have to become to do the things that you want to do? Who do you have to become? Because it's a personal growth is all what the journey's about. And it's a journey. We are not in a race. There's no end game, except for, well, when we die, then that's over. But
Right.
outside of that,
I
I'm
don't know if I
saying,
believe that, but anyway.
oh, well, that's another story.
That's another episode of
That's
the podcast.
another episode. We'll go there another time. But what I'm saying is think about it like this. There's no mountain to climb. We are the mountain. So think about yourself as the mountain and not that you have to climb a mountain. We are the mountain.
Oh, I like that.
I
Or as
got that
Esther
from
Hicks says, oh, go ahead. Where'd you get it from?
Robert Palmer, the CEO of LPT Realty.
Oh, I thought you were going to be like Robert Palmer, the musician.
No.
Okay.
But he said it. And I was like, I like that. I have to use that because it's true. We are the mountain. So when I say that, it's like I'm helping other people climb.
Love it.
And that's part of like the course. But I wanted to ask you about your women in real estate. What's that about?
Oh, so this woman, Tara Kroc, puts it on. I think this is the 6th year. And it's in February. I forget the dates, but I'll have the link soon and I'll post it and I'll share it with you. So it's 30 women in real estate that are each giving presentations, and the presentations are recorded, but they drop at a certain time. You know, there's a whole schedule, and there's also a Facebook group, and there's some live events, and it's free to join. And then you also have the chance to upgrade to VIP. And if you upgrade to VIP, you get instant access to all of the presentations, and you get some free bonuses. Like I'm giving away for VIP people, I'm giving away one module in my online course, Unleashed and Aligned. So there are women, lots of women that are giving stuff away. It is a phenomenal experience. I binge all of them. I've met some really amazing women over the years by being a part of that. And so I forget, I have to look at my calendar when we get the link, but we get the link sometime in February, and then I'll share it with you and people can sign up for it.
Awesome. That sounds amazing. I love it. I love the sharing. I think being, this, I mean, being in contribution is, I believe, part of what we're, I don't say required to do, but it should be part of who we are. Contribute to as many people as you can. Make the world a better place,
Yeah, and it makes it better for me. Like when I contribute, it actually helps me grow. Like I do some private coaching. When I do the private coaching, it actually expands me.
It does, because you get to relearn some things, and you learn about yourself in the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you're going to let us know when you're going to have this.
Well, I have a link
of Agent for Agent.
Well, so I have the link now that people can register for the webinar for January 29th. And so I'll share that with you after the podcast. Or
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll share
absolutely.
that with you, and then people can sign up even if you can't come on the 29th, because then you'll get the replay and you can watch it. And I love the replay because you can watch it at double speed, which is what I do on every single replay. So you can watch it on double speed, and then you can sign up for the wait list. And as soon as we launch, we'll let you know, and then you'll fill out your profile and start giving and getting referrals and spread the word, because in order for this to work for all of us, we need agents from all over the country. So right now we have a ton of people on the waiting list, and they're mostly in the Philadelphia area. We have a few scattered, but we need the whole entire country, and it's going to help all of us. It's going to help us take a lot of the business that we normally have to spend money on big tech, and hopefully it will bring us back into our own agent pockets as part of the mission of this as well.
Fabulous. I love it. Let's go and keep on being the solution, Janis.
Fabulous. Maria, I always have a good time talking to you, but today was extra special. It was extra juicy. Thank you.
Today was extra special. I loved it.
Yeah.
Now look, I turned my morning frown upside down.
There you go. Me too.
Now I'm all smiling.
Yep. I'm so glad. I hope you feel better.
Thank you.
You're welcome.